With many of us quarantined at home and no definitive timeline on when life could get back to normal, it's easy to get anxious or maybe depressed. I'm Veronica Rueckert, and today on Badger Talks, we're joined by Karen Smith. She's a postdoctoral scholar in the Department of Psychology at UW-Madison, and she has some insight for us about how the quarantine is affecting us. Karen, thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having me, Veronica.
Well, Karen, is it fair to say that a lot of us are feeling what you could call the quarantine blues right now?
I think it is fair to say. I think we've all experienced a very large change that's been accompanied by a lot of sort of feelings of uncontrollability and unpredictability, creating a very stressful situation for most of us, and we don't know when it's going to end. And so a lot of us are struggling with feeling either down one day and then feeling better the next day and then feeling worse the next day after that.
Right. Moods don't seem to last very long right now. They're up and they're down, as you say. And the stress of it, I imagine, is sort of what's triggering all of this. Why is this so hard? Based on your research, what do we know about that?
So stress is really about how we're perceiving our environment, and the current environment. There is, like I said, a lot of uncontrollability, a lot of unpredictability, and those are two of the most important factors that make something stressful. And so given that, it has created an incredibly stressful situation for most people. And then additionally, we're all being forced to be at home all the time, so we don't have sort of our normal social interactions and social support systems.
So things are out of our control, things are unpredictable. It doesn't sound like we can do a lot to change how we feel about that, but what can we do to make things better for ourselves, even when we're in quarantine?
So I think there are a few things we can do. The first is recognizing that we can't control and we can't predict what's going on, and trying to do so is just going to make it feel more stressful. The second is to try and exert control over the smaller things you can control at home. So having a regular routine can be helpful for many people, putting those types of systems into place. And then also continuing to reach out and receive social support, as well as give social support to other people. Even though we might not be able to be in the same physical place with them, we can still communicate with others. We have lots of technology available for us to do so. And so continuing to maintain the relationships we have is really important.
This is your area of specialty. Just anecdotally, are you hearing things in particular that are working for people, that they're implementing in their own lives and it's helping them get through this?
Yes. So I know a lot of people I talk to regularly are either doing happy hours every week with friends they can't see anymore, or I know myself and some of my colleagues who are not in Madison, we're doing sort of working together via Zoom regularly, and that's been very helpful for us. I think people have found it, I have talked to people who have found it helpful to try and structure their days more, especially as we move into sort of the longer part of quarantine. I think initially people were trying to give themselves a lot of grace, and we still have to do that and not force themselves to structure anything too much. But as we've moved forward, I think people have been finding routines to be very helpful.
Karen, that is all really helpful. Thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
That was Karen Smith, postdoctoral student in the Department of Psychology. She was joining us to talk about what you might call the quarantine blues. This is Badger Talks. For more information about other current COVID topics, visit news.wisc.edu. I'm Veronica Rueckert. Thanks for joining us.